Welcome back, everybody. Get ready, because today we're diving deep, deep into the life of Hollywood legend Evelyn Hugo.
Oh, Evelyn Hugo.
Evelyn Hugo, yeah. We've got excerpts, from The Seven Husbands of Evelyn
Oh,
Hugo.
right.
And let me tell you, she doesn't hold back. This deep dive, we're going way back to her beginnings to uncover the woman behind the icon.
It's going to be juicy.
Juicy is an understatement. So let's rewind all the way back to the streets of Hell's Kitchen. Not exactly the glamorous start you'd expect for a Hollywood starlet.
Right. But you can see how those early years, the poverty, her mom's tragic death, it all fueled that fire in her. Like, she was determined to escape that life, to become something bigger.
And that ambition, talk about drive. She sets her sights on Hollywood, uses her beauty, her brains, everything she's got to break in. But Hollywood in the 50s, man, that was a whole different beast.
Oh, totally cutthroat. The studio system, it was all about control, molding these stars into what they wanted.
And Evelyn's first marriage to Ernie Diaz, that was, a stepping stone, a pure strategy move on her part.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was a different time.
Yeah.
A woman, even as talented as Evelyn, needed a man to open those doors in Hollywood.
And Ernie, he was a good guy, right? From what I gathered in the book.
Yeah, seemed like a genuinely kind soul.
Yeah.
But also, maybe a little naive. He was completely smitten with Evelyn.
Blinded by love.
Maybe a little.
Mm-hmm.
That's Evelyn, isn't she? She's got this magnetism, this pull that draws people in.
And she uses it, doesn't she, to get what she wants, even if it means, using people along the way.
Well, she was ambitious. And let's be real, she was playing a game with very few rules.
And she wins, right? She gets to Hollywood, leaves Ernie behind, starts her climb to the top.
But Hollywood wasn't exactly welcoming with open arms. The studios, they fabricated a whole new backstory for her, erased that Hell's Kitchen past.
America's sweetheart, they called her. All smiles in the sunshine.
Carefully crafted image, yeah. And you have to wonder, how much of that was Evelyn? How much was the studio?
Well, she played the part, right? At least on the surface.
She had to. That was the game. And she played it brilliantly. But underneath that facade, she was making some very calculated moves. That's where Harry Cameron comes in. Powerful producer, ambitious like her. Their connection, it was electric, both professionally and, personally.
Ooh, Harry Cameron. Now we're talking. Their relationship, that was a roller coaster, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Wait, there's more?
Oh, so much more. But first, we got to talk about the husbands. All 7 of them.
7 husbands. Okay, we may need more than one deep dive for all that.
I know, right? But we'll try to cover the highlights. Let's start with Don Adler, Hollywood royalty. For a moment, you really believe Evelyn's found true love.
He was charming, successful, head over heels for her.
Right. And then, bam, the mask slips. The possessiveness, the abuse.
Yeah.
It's a dark side of femme, and it really shows the pressure on women, especially back then, to keep up appearances no matter what.
She hid it all, right? Even from Harry.
Makeup to cover the bruises, excuses for Don's behavior. It's chilling when you think about it.
And then the incident with Celia St. James, her Little Women co-star, that changes everything.
Oh, yeah, that's a turning point. Don finds Celia in Evelyn's dressing room.
Yeah.
And what he sees, it terrifies Evelyn, not just for her career, but for who she is.
And here comes Harry swooping in to save the day like a knight in shining armor.
Always the fixer, that Harry. A quickie divorce from Don, and then, bam. Marriage number 2 to Rex North, the rising star who also needed some good PR.
Another strategic move, you think, to protect her image.
For sure. Evelyn's a master strategist, but
Yeah.
Rex, he's interesting. He actually helps her figure out her feelings for Celia.
Wait, how so?
He confesses his own love for another woman. And it's like a light bulb moment for Evelyn. She realizes she's feeling the same thing, but it's a lot more complicated,
Because it's Celia.
Yeah.
And it's in the 1950s.
Exactly. And that, my friend, is where things get really, really interesting. Evelyn and Celia, talk about forbidden love, right? Hollywood, in the 50s, 2 women at the top of their game. A public relationship, no way.
It was a different time, that's for sure. And the stakes were so high, their careers, their reputations, everything could have been destroyed.
Yeah, and you see them struggling with that,
Right.
On one hand, this intense passion, these stolen moments, the thrill of it all, but then the constant fear, the hiding. It takes a toll.
Celia especially, she seemed to really crave that normalcy, that freedom to just be herself openly.
Right. Celia wanted it all. She didn't want to live in the shadows. But Evelyn, she was more pragmatic, trying to convince Celia, they could make it work as long as they were careful.
Always thinking 10 steps ahead, our Evelyn.
Always. But eventually it becomes too much for Celia. The pressure, the secrecy. They have their first big breakup.
And Evelyn, heartbroken, but never one to just sit around feeling sorry for herself. She dives headfirst into work, right? Marriage number 3, Mick Riva, the famous singer. Another marriage of convenience, but this time with a twist.
Oh yeah, this one was all about creating a diversion. The tabloids went crazy, all focused on this whirlwind romance, the staged affair in Vegas, all a smokescreen to give her and Celia some breathing room.
Brilliant. But risky, no? I mean, playing with fire like that.
Evelyn thrived on risk. And it worked, for a while at least. The media frenzy, it gave her and Celia a chance to reconnect, to be together, even if it was still in secret. But that kind of pressure, it can't last forever.
And then she tells Harry, her best friend, her confidant, the one person she thought she could trust with anything. She tells him about Celia.
And wouldn't you know it, Harry's got a secret of his own. He's in love with John Braverman, Celia's husband.
Whoa, wait, what? Talk about a tangled web.
It's a bombshell, right?
Yeah.
And it bonds them in this strange way, this shared experience of forbidden love. Leads to this crazy proposal, a marriage of convenience to protect them both.
So Evelyn marries Harry, a marriage of convenience turned into what? A real partnership, a family.
It's complicated, like everything in Evelyn's life. They genuinely care for each other, build a life together, even have a daughter, Connor. And it creates this strange but kind of beautiful dynamic between Evelyn, Harry, Celia, and John.
They find a balance, a sense of peace, at least for a while. But tragedy strikes, doesn't it? John dies suddenly.
Devastating for everyone, especially Celia. And Harry, seeing her so vulnerable, he makes a move, confesses his feelings.
Oh no, Aunt Celia.
Raw with grief, she responds. And the affair begins, a secret that weighs heavily on them both, especially when Evelyn finds out.
Imagine the betrayal, not just from Harry, her husband, but from Celia, the love of her life.
It shatters her. Celia tries to explain, to say she loves them both, but the damage is done. Their relationship implodes. Celia leaves, unable to bear the guilt, the secrecy, and Evelyn, well, she throws herself back into work, back into that climb to the top.
And that's where we meet Max Gerard, the director, the rebel, the one who pushes Evelyn like no one else ever has.
Max is a force of nature. He sees Evelyn's vulnerability, her pain, and he uses it. Pushes her to take risks, to do things that shock even her.
Like that scene in Anna Karenina, the one that made her a legend, but also pushed Celia even further away.
Yeah, that scene. It was groundbreaking, but so raw, so emotionally charged, you could feel the heartbreak in every frame. And Celia sees it, you know. She sees Evelyn transformed, hardened, and she realizes it's over. They can't go back.
And Evelyn, what's she feeling?
I think a mix of things. Triumph, yes, but also a deep sense of loss. Like she's achieved everything she ever wanted, but it's all meaningless without Celia.
And then her marriage to Harry falls apart. And she turns to Max. He's there, waiting in the wings, ready to catch her.
Max, he's the opposite of Celia, right? Flamboyant, demanding, almost cruel in his honesty.
Yeah.
But there's this intensity, this passion that draws her in.
A rebound, or something more.
Maybe a little both. At first, it's this whirlwind romance, a creative partnership that sets Hollywood on fire. But Max, he's got a dark side too.
I'm sensing trouble.
Yeah, he's possessive, controlling, and he knows about Celia. Uses it against Evelyn, threatens to expose her, to destroy everything she's built.
Wow, he sounds awful. But Evelyn, she doesn't back down easily, right?
No, she doesn't. But she's trapped, living this double life, always looking over her shoulder. Until one day, Max catches her meeting with Celia.
Oh no, Celia's back in the picture.
She is a successful actress in her own right. And the sparks, they're still there. But Max, he sees red, threatens to ruin them both. And that's when Evelyn finally snaps. She realizes she can't keep living like this.
So she leaves Max, and then what? She goes back to Celia after all this time.
She does. Driven by this desperate hope, this need to see if there's anything left. And that, my friend, is where things get really interesting. They run away together, you know. Evelyn and Celia escape from all the drama, the pressure, the prying eyes of Hollywood. They end up in this quiet little Spanish town, Aldiz.
Like a scene straight out of a movie, right? Trading the red carpets for cobblestone streets. What a change.
Total 180. And for a while, it seems like they've finally found it, you know? That peace, that normalcy they've been craving. But life's never that simple, is it?
Especially not for Evelyn Hugo. So what happens? What throws a wrench in their little paradise?
Well, Connor, remember Harry and Evelyn's daughter?
Right.
She's a teenager now, and she's struggling big time. Lost John, the only father she's ever known, and now her whole world's been uprooted.
Tough situation for a kid, so she rebels.
Oh, yeah, big time. Angry at Evelyn, at Celia, blaming them for everything. It's a rough patch, lots of tension, lots of hurt feelings. And it all comes to a head when Evelyn finally breaks down and tells Connor the truth about Harry, about the accident.
Whoa, wait. She tells her everything about how it wasn't really an accident.
Yep. Confesses that she staged the whole thing to protect Celia. Said Harry had a heart attack during an argument, and she panicked, Moved his body, made it look like he was driving.
Wow. Talk about a bombshell.
Yeah.
In Connor, how does she take it?
It's a lot for her to process, obviously. But it also kind of explains things, Makes her see Evelyn in a new light, understand the lengths she went to, the sacrifices she made for Celia.
And Celia, she must felt a huge weight lift off her shoulders, knowing that Evelyn had kept her secret all these years.
Oh, absolutely. It's this huge turning point for all of them. This shared understanding, this forgiveness. It brings them closer together as a family. And then there's another revelation, a big one, about Connor's biological father.
Wait, so Harry wasn't?
Nope. Turns out, it was a close friend of theirs, Robert Jameson, a gay man living a closeted life at the time. He agreed to help them conceive a child.
Wow. Talk about a selfless act. He must have cared for them deeply.
He did. It was a testament to their bond, the love they shared, even if it wasn't romantic love in the traditional sense.
And you know what's even crazier?
But there's more.
Years later, Robert and Celia, they fall in love, get married. It's this beautiful, unconventional family unit, full of love, acceptance, understanding.
It's like something out of a fairy tale, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like all fairy tales, this one has a tragic twist, right? Celia gets sick.
Yeah. Lung cancer hits them all hard, especially Evelyn. After all they'd been through, all the ups and downs, now this.
She loses Celia, the love of her life, her soulmate.
Yeah.
It must have been devastating.
Absolutely heartbreaking. But it also kind of brings things full circle, Makes Evelyn realize what's truly important in life. It's not the fame, the fortune, the accolades. It's love. Pure and simple.
And she decides to tell her story to Monique, this young journalist. Why her?
I think Evelyn saw something of herself in Monique. Ambitious, talented, but also kind of lost, needed a direction, a purpose. And Evelyn, she wanted to make sure her story was told right. No more secrets, no more hiding. And what a story it is. But even then, she holds one last secret back. A confession that shocks even Monique.
The truth about Harry's death. How she was more involved than she initially let on.
It's a lot to take in, isn't it? All these twists and turns, these morally gray areas. Makes you wonder, is she a hero? A villain? Or maybe a bit of both?
That's the beauty of Evelyn Hugo, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
She defies categorization. She's complex, flawed, but ultimately so human. And her story, it stays with you, makes you think about your own choices, your own definitions of success, of love, of happiness.
She certainly left her mark, that's for sure.
Well, folks, that's our deep dive into the whirlwind life of Evelyn Hugo. We've laughed, we've cried, we've questioned everything we thought we knew about love, ambition, and the price of fame. And if you're like me, you're probably left wanting more.
Oh, there's always more to discover. So many layers to this story, so many perspectives to consider. I encourage everyone, go read the book, get the full experience, all the juicy details we didn't have time for today.
And remember Evelyn's words. Never let anyone make you feel ordinary. She lived a life that was anything but ordinary, and her story reminds us that we can too. So go out there, chase those dreams, embrace your complexities, and never, ever apologize for being who you are. Until next time, folks.